Children don't owe their parents anything for being raised by them. 14 Unpopular opinion of Reddit. Unpopular opinion. Mona Lisa is ugly as hell. I'm talking about the girl. The painting itself is beautiful, but man, Mona Lisa is mad ugly. Da Vinci literally went to his local library and picked up some random girl. I'm sorry, but you 1600s hoes are mad ugly. Defaming a historical figure for their blatant racism is stupid. If you were around during the 19th century, you'd be just as racist as anyone else. So much stuff on the web these days about how so-and-so should deserve to have all of their accolades taken back because they were racist. No, really, they were racist? When slavery was common, racism was casual. It's just how things were. Despite how morally superior you think you are now, you would have been raised in a household where racist comments were normal, and you would have grown up with those same views. It's absurd to suggest that we start altering our history to speak only of the people who were purely good by today's standards. We would literally have zero founding fathers in history books if we were to stop honoring them because of their racist views at the time. If you are over 30 and work at a fast food restaurant, you are not a loser. Not everyone can be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. Just because you have a low-paying job doesn't mean you are a loser. Life isn't fair. Not everyone has had time nor the opportunity to study. Not everyone wants to open a business nor become rich by working long hours. Some people just want to get by, living without mansions, sport cars, and overpriced holidays. We spend too much time discussing homosexuality when only around 4% of the population is gay, but meanwhile 80% of the population of the planet lives in poverty. I get human rights, ending discrimination, etc., and I am 100% on board, but the amount of time spent talking about something that affects so few people, and the amount of posturing by the affected parties is insane. I agree it's important, but it's nothing you need a parade for. There are way bigger issues that get very little traction, such as the number of people living in poverty, even in the most developed nations. Why is that? Is it that the issues that affect huge percentages are too difficult to address? Is it that no one in Hollywood is poor, but a disproportionate number are gay, so there is no platform for poverty? Is the feeling that poverty is a choice? Why don't we have parades for teachers or people who are working to better the world for much larger percentages of the population? Disclaimer: I know it's been a long, hard fight for basic human dignity for homosexual people. I don't debate that, and I have tremendous respect for those people who suffered and continue to suffer for this cause. Not only respect, but gratitude. The world as a whole is definitely better because of their sacrifices. But still, telling people who have severe facial deformities that they're beautiful is disingenuous, patronizing, dishonest, and self-congratulatory. There's a YouTuber named Nikki Lily who does music and makeup videos on YouTube. Her face is deformed. If you go to the comments section of any of her videos, you see hundreds or thousands of comments that are telling her how beautiful she is. There are rarely any other kind of comments as far as I can tell. Now, this kind of strikes me as similar to telling an overweight woman that she is skinny. By no societal standards in the world that I can imagine would this girl be considered physically beautiful. She has a condition that causes her to have a severe and grotesque deformity on half of her face. She doesn't deserve to be bullied for this, of course. But I think the millions of fans she has in these thousands of comments are no coincidence. I think her appearance is the reason for her popularity, and so people view her as a freak show, just of a different kind. People flock to her channel since they see her as a freak show, but they just leave patronizing comments telling her how beautiful she is so they and everyone who upvotes them can feel good about themselves. I see this as extremely strange behavior. It's almost as if Nikki is some sort of moral well from which people can draw in order to feel good about themselves and others, to have an unspoken, massive communal back-patting party in the comments about how good they all are as people. Her videos have thousands or tens of thousands of comments. People know the creator of the video will probably not see the comments, however they do know that other people will. That's why they leave these comments. This is a bizarre new kind of phenomenon, and while I'm always happy for a fellow YouTuber getting attention on their channel, I don't think this is a good kind of attention. I think it's actually a very disingenuous and off-putting kind of trend. It leaves me feeling very dirty and confused about the nature of social media. It wouldn't be so bad if the comments were just normal, mildly supportive or even constructive comments, but these comments are really exaggerated. All caps, dozens of heart emojis, lots of exclamation points. It's almost as if they're trying to one-up each other for who can be the most overwhelmingly supportive and saccharine with their comments. It's actually kind of disgusting. I don't even know if we have words for this kind of behavior, since this is kind of a new phenomenon. Really, I just feel sorry for this girl. I wonder if she understands what's going on. Reddit has become the place where the childhood bullied become the bullies. Let me explain. The Reddit community is the most condescending trash I have ever seen. They constantly put others down to bolster their own insecurities. Subs like r/trashy serve this exact purpose of we are better than them. Now for my title. In high schools of old, maybe 5 to 10 years ago, nerds, geeks, and just non-popular people would be bullied. Most of these people now make their way onto Reddit. The majority of people here are extremely critical of intelligence to the point where it could be considered bullying. You get one thing wrong, they will pounce onto you and just shut everything you have to say with "you are not smart, remember when you said this." One of the biggest targets is the general populace, who are heavily subject to the superior Redditors. This is just used to treat their insecurities and saying we're special and different, right? We're smart. No, you're not. You're literally a clone of every neckbeard Redditor on the site. Ellen DeGeneres is severely overrated. First of all, Ellen is not a funny comedian. People always say she's one of the funniest people on television, and that's simply not true. Her show is literally made for American housewives to watch during the daytime, and that's it. It's just her scaring celebrities plus criticizing and embarrassing people younger than 25 for no reason, plus subtle racism towards Asian guests, plus talking about herself and a little talking with the guests themselves. That's not to say she's a 100% horrible person, but saying she's overrated would still be an understatement. Just because you can sing a popular song at half speed in a breathy voice whilst slowly strumming a guitar doesn't mean you're talented. No, I don't want to buy your crappy CD of covers. Now get out my way so I can shop in peace. I swear people slowly singing pop songs in public with an acoustic guitar is this decade's version of the pan flute epidemic. People are brainwashed into thinking a 40-hour, 5-day work week is an appropriate amount of time to spend working. The government and society want to keep us working and spending as much as possible, so obviously they can tax us all along their way. The amount people work to spend their money on the useless stuff they don't need is, in my opinion, unbearable. Especially to anyone doing hard labor work. People wake up and prepare for work, work all day often until the sun goes down, and by the time they are done washing up and feeding themselves, you literally have 1 or 2 hours of time each day to spend by yourselves. For anyone who plays a musical instrument or does any other practice time-consuming art, your entire life consists of work and practice, leaving you an overworked, unhappy husk. If there is anyone considering a life of minimalism and less work, I strongly advocate for it. Traveling only appeals to boring people or people who haven't traveled. I've traveled everywhere. The UK, Germany, France, India, Bangladesh, about half of the US, including California, Las Vegas, New York, Minneapolis, Tennessee, Hawaii, you get the idea. Not once have I ever felt, yeah, I'm experiencing something I couldn't back at home. When you travel you have to leave most of your belongings behind, so if you have a hobby that requires any sort of specialized equipment, too bad. I've hiked on mountains, I've swam in oceans, I've been on the London Eye, I've run through every single tourist attraction there is, and not once have I felt, yeah, that was worth giving 1 week of my life away. And I'm not some antisocial weirdo, I go out of my way to interact with other people. Nobody is different, at the core of it people still act like people, nothing more and nothing less. Yeah, sure there are differences, but they aren't interesting. A quick Google search or a Reddit post will tell you the major, culture shocks anyway. You want to know my favorite part of traveling? The trip. The plane ride, the train to the hotel, the taxi caught in traffic for 4 hours. Unironically, this is my favorite part because I get to sleep. Whenever someone says they love traveling, I immediately think they either haven't traveled much or they are just so boring they find entertainment by moving the ground under their feet. To girls who friendzone guys, they're not obligated to keep being your friend. I say this as a gay man who sees this with many of my female friends. If you have a guy friend who makes a move and you put him in the friend zone, he has every right to not stay in your life. Some guys want to date you, plain and simple. These guys probably had a crush on you from the start and pursued you in the hopes of a romantic relationship. These guys listened to your problems, took interest in your day, and cared about your needs to show you they can be a good partner. But it's not the same as a platonic friendship. If you friendzone a guy like this, he will do one of two things. Stick around with either the hopes you'll change your mind, super common, or because he feels he can quickly move on and be genuine friends, rare. Not talk to you again because he doesn't want to hear about you seeing other guys or hear about your boy problems. He's under no obligation to be your friend, just like you're under no obligation to date him. This also applies to men who friend zone their female friends. If Tinder is implementing a height setting for men, they should implement a weight setting for women. Tinder just announced a setting for men to show their height, under the reasoning that too many men lie about their height on the app and, as they put it, are height fishing women. I can just about guarantee they won't do a thing about weight for women. I have friends who have been fat fished. That's essentially the same thing. Why the hell should guys show their height if women won't show their weight? It's so dumb to me. A girl doesn't like a guy because of his height? You go girl power, blah blah blah. A guy doesn't like a girl because she's fat? Butthole, so misogynistic, blah blah blah. It annoys the living hell out of me that women aren't held to the same societal standards regarding attraction that men are. Let me be clear, I have no issue with a woman if she is fat. I am just not attracted to it. Also, it is totally okay with me if a woman isn't attracted to me because I'm 5 feet 9 inches. Yes, I'm aware that the height setting is optional, similar to Bumble, and it's not as bad as something like Hinge where you're required to put your height, whereas women aren't required to put their weight. While this is about Tinder's new settings, I think it really opens up the societal double standard regarding attraction to the opposing sex, and it just pisses me the hell off. The right is just as easily triggered as the left. I will probably be downvoted for this since this sub is dominated by right-wingers venting their opinions, but for the record I am conservative myself. I constantly hear talk about trigger culture where SJWs and feminists are sensitive to the point where any little thing they disagree with triggers them. It has become an internet meme and something that right-wingers seem to throw around quite a lot. Yet these same right-wingers go into an absolute trigger meltdown due to a silly Gillette commercial. The backlash to that commercial has pretty much been as big as the backlash to that black kid in a monkey sweater H&M picture. I just find it funny that many of the same people who talk about triggered SJWs can handle a Gillette commercial. If someone tells you I'll pray for you with sincerity, and you respond with a rude comment about religion, you're an a-hole. While I'm not sure just how unpopular this opinion is, I'm putting it in this sub because I've seen it happen so many times recently. Don't get me wrong, there are some exceptions to this rule. If someone has the ability to help with something, but doesn't want to get off their butt, but still wants brownie points for helping and so they pull the I'll pray card, then yes, they are the a-hole. But that is why I added with sincerity. If they can't help, if there's nothing they can do, all they can do is appeal to the highest power they know. If you don't believe in their God, or a God at all, that's totally fine. But don't be rude about it. Children don't owe their parents anything for being raised by them. A lot of people I talk to think that they are owed by their children for raising them. Most folks don't even raise their children well, yet they expect the children to pay them back for all the trouble they had with them. For pity's sake, it was your choice to have children. If you consider that choice as an investment into your future, just don't have children because you are obviously a trash bag of a person for thinking that way. And even if the child was an accident, it's not their mistake, it's yours. There is a ton of things you can do to prevent it. Even an abortion is a 100 times better solution than raising someone just to make them feel miserable. Thanks for listening to Radio TTS. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell for more videos. Click the right box for the Radio TTS playlist and let us know what the next video should be about.